I'm at the Islamic Center in Washington, D.C. to see how the words of the Quran are more than holy wisdom for the Muslim faithful. They are proof of God. Dr. Amir Hussein is a scholar of the Islamic tradition.
Amir?
Mr. Freeman, honored to see you, sir.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm very well indeed. Nice to see you. This is rather elaborate. So the first thing that occurred to me when I walked in here was, I wonder what that chandelier weighs.
It's huge. There's a verse in the Quran about God is the light of the heavens and the earth.
Right. Now up there,
Yes.
what are we looking at?
What you see are verses from the Quran. So right here up in the white, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, literally in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate.
Ar-Rahman, the merciful, Ar-Rahim, the compassionate.
So those are two of the names of God.
So then calligraphy has a special place and meaning.
Absolutely. To make beauty out of those letters, out of those words, is really important for Muslims. You know, through the words that God speaks. For Christians, God's word is the Bible, but God's word really is Jesus. You know, God come to earth in flesh. For Muslims, the Quran is God come to earth in book. So the very words of the Quran are the words of God.
Proof of God is the Quran.
Is the Quran. You know, if you ask
The
Muslims,
fact that it exists.
absolutely, that it exists, that God reveals God's self to human beings in these words. And in these words in Arabic. 80% of Muslims don't use Arabic as their day-to-day language, but the words of the Quran are always in Arabic.
In the mosque courtyard, Amir shows me verses that every Muslim knows. Ones that explain how God shows himself in the Quran.
So these are the very first words of the Quran, the first verses revealed to the Prophet.
Is that right there?
Saying Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Recite in the name of your Lord. And then here, recite, your Lord is the most generous, who taught by the pen, taught the human being what the human being did not know. That's the crucial importance here, that God teaches us, but God teaches us with God's pen. And that's why the pen, the writing, the calligraphy is so important for Muslims. We have, very fortunately, one of the great calligraphers in the Islamic world, the best American calligrapher, Muhammad Zakaria, who's with us here. Let's come down and meet him. Brother Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I wanted to introduce you to Mr. Morgan Freeman.
How do you do, sir? What a delight.
You're an American, pale face.
Pale.
California boy.
You don't get a pale there to me.
But you've taken up this very interesting art.
See, I was a machinist, I was a precisionist. When we're doing calligraphy, we're talking about making a line by eye that is within a half a thousandth of an inch deviation from good and bad. And so I saw these calligraphies, and they were kind of an inspiration to me at the time. And I converted to Islam.
Is it possible to see your studio where you work?
Absolutely, I invite you.
It would seem to me that that takes enormous concentration to make a line and take a breath and continue that line without showing you where I took the breath.
The thing is, as your pen is moving, you can actually forget what you're doing. There's a rhythm. The whole thing flows, and it becomes visual music in a sense.
Okay, so what does that part mean?
What does it say?
Yeah.
Whoever does a work based on what he knows from his knowledge, God causes him to inherit a knowledge that he didn't know he had. And so That's a famous one.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah. This is one of the few lines I've ever written that I really think has that
flow, that life.
Yeah. Otherwise, it's just writing. It just sits there. You know, it's the difference between, well, you know, a good hot dog and a great hot dog.
Right. That is not just good, Muhammad. This is awesome. For Muslims, the Quran is the holy revelation of God's word. And so the very existence of the words of the Quran is proof of God. Drawing these words has become a high form of art, a way to invoke the presence of God in all who gaze at them, no matter which language you speak.